The Omnitrix had been glitching for 3 days straight, flickering between green and red during the fight with Vilgax's drones over Bellwood. Ben slammed his fist against the alien device as another drone fired, the impact sending him spiraling through the air. The watch face pulsed with light that had no business being that bright, symbols scrolling faster than he could read. Then reality tore open like wet paper. 1 second. Blue sky. Familiar city. Explosion behind him. Next second. Polished marble floor. Camera flashes. A blonde man mid-sentence freezing as Ben materialized 3 feet above a podium in a spray of emerald energy. Ben hit the stage hard, Omnitrix still cycling through transformations it couldn't complete. His body rippled, scales starting to form, then fur, then crystalline skin, before snapping back to human. The watch beeped frantically, error messages in Galvan script crawling across its face. He rolled to his knees, head spinning, surrounded by the most aggressively corporate space he'd ever seen. Vought Tower's press conference hall. 200 journalists, 47 cameras, one very, very tall man in an American flag cape staring down at him with eyes that reflected stage lights like a cat's. The fuck? Homelander's smile never wavered, but his voice carried an edge that made Ben's skin crawl. We got dimensional travel now? Nobody tells me anything. Ben scrambled backward, taking in the scene. Massive Vought International logo behind the podium, 7 people in superhero costumes arranged like a corporate board. The blonde man, Homelander, according to the nameplate, standing center stage with a smile that looked painted on. A woman with stars on her costume. A guy in black armor who hadn't moved an inch. This wasn't Bellwood. This wasn't even his Earth. Ben's hand went to the Omnitrix instinctively, still glitching but responding. Sorry, didn't mean to crash your... whatever this is. Camera flashes intensified. Ben heard shouting, reporters surging forward. Security guards that looked more like private military contractors moved to intercept. One of them had a gun, an actual gun, at a superhero press conference. Stay right there, kid. A woman in a severe pantsuit materialized from backstage, her smile as fake as Homelander's. Ashley Barrett, VP of Hero Management, though Ben had no way of knowing that yet. Her eyes calculated faster than any AI. Everyone, please. This is obviously part of our announcement. Vought International is proud to introduce our newest interdimensional partnership initiative. She was lying. Ben had fought enough villains to recognize desperate improvisation, but the cameras ate it up, reporters already typing headlines on their phones. Homelander's eyes narrowed. Then he laughed, loud and performative. Yeah, exactly what Ashley said. We've been working on some really exciting stuff. Really exciting. His gaze fixed on Ben's wrist, on the Omnitrix. What's that watch do, sport? Every instinct Ben had developed over years of hero work screamed danger. This man radiated wrongness the way Vilgax radiated malice, but wrapped in patriotic colors and a smile for the cameras. The other heroes on stage weren't relaxed. They were tense, watching their leader like prey animals tracking a predator. It's... Ben's thumb hovered over the activation dial. One transformation, just in case. It's complicated. I bet it is. Homelander took a step closer. The stage groaned under his weight. You know, we should talk. Privately. Get you oriented. Maybe figure out how a kid just falls through reality into my press conference. His press conference. The possessiveness in those words. Ben stood slowly, muscles coiled. The Omnitrix finally stopped glitching, returning to its normal green glow. Available transformations loaded back into the playlist. Humongosaur, Jetray, Big Chill. Way big if things went really south. Look, I appreciate it, but I'm good. Just need to figure out how to get home. Home? Homelander tilted his head. Where's home exactly? Bellwood. California. Different... Ben caught himself. Different place. Ashley was already on her phone, whispering urgently. Security tightened their perimeter. The other heroes stayed statue still, except for a blonde woman in a white and gold costume who looked at Ben with something that might have been concern or pity. He couldn't tell which. The cameras never stopped recording. "Well, you're in New York now." Homelander's enthusiasm felt like broken glass wrapped in cotton candy. "Greatest city on Earth, and you just met the greatest hero on Earth. So why don't we..." The Omnitrix beeped. Not an error, a scan completion notification. Ben glanced down at the data scrolling across the faceplate, and his blood went cold. Biological scan complete. Homo sapiens enhanced. Foreign compound detected in DNA structure. Artificial mutation. Markers present. Subject. Non-natural. Superhuman. The Watch had just analyzed Homelander. These people weren't aliens. They weren't naturally evolved metahumans. They were artificially enhanced, created, manufactured. Ben looked up at the 7 people on stage with new understanding, and the horror must have shown on his face because Homelander's smile finally cracked. "Something wrong, kid." Before Ben could answer, the building shook. Screams erupted from outside. Real screams, not the manufactured kind. An explosion bloomed against the tower's eastern face, glass shattering across the conference hall. Homelander's head snapped toward the sound with predatory focus. "Fucking finally," he muttered, loud enough for Ben to hear. Then, louder, for the cameras. "Everyone stay calm. The 7 will handle this." He shot into the air through the shattered window without another word, cape billowing dramatically. The other heroes followed in a choreographed rush that looked too practiced to be spontaneous. Ben stood alone on the stage as alarms blared, surrounded by security and cameras and Ashley Barrett's calculating stare. "You," she pointed at him, voice cutting through the chaos. "Conference room, now. We need to talk about what you just saw, what you are, and how Vought International can make this situation work for everyone." It wasn't a request. Ben's thumb found the Omnitrix dial as security closed in. Outside, more explosions. Inside, a corporate smile that promised gilded cages. He'd fought universe-ending threats before. Beaten Vilgax. Stopped the hybrid invasion. Saved reality itself more than once. But he'd never been somewhere that made heroism feel like a product endorsement. Never seen heroes who moved like corporate assets. Never felt this fundamentally alone. The Omnitrix glowed green, ready for whatever came next. Ben just wished he knew what the hell he'd accidentally landed in. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, smash that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Fucking diabolical. The conference room looked like every corporate nightmare Ben had seen in movies, but worse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking New York. A table so polished he could see his reflection looking confused and scared. Abstract art that probably cost more than his house. Ashley Barrett sat across from him, flanked by 2 people she'd introduced as brand consultants, which apparently meant lawyers who smiled while threatening you. Ben hadn't touched the bottled water they'd offered. The Omnitrix's scan kept replaying in his mind. Artificial mutation markers. These people weren't born super. Someone made them that way. So, Ashley's tablet glowed with footage already uploaded to 17 different social media platforms. Ben watched himself materialize on stage. The Omnitrix's light show, Homelander's reaction. The view counter climbed faster than he could read. "You just became the most talked about person in America. 200 million impressions in 12 minutes. That's a Vought record." "I didn't ask for that." Ben leaned back in his chair, trying to look calmer than he felt. "I told you, I'm trying to get home." "Right, Bellwood, California." One of the lawyers, Marcus something, tapped his own tablet. Funny thing, we can't find any record of a Bellwood, California. No census data, no satellite imagery, no digital footprint whatsoever. Because it didn't exist in this universe. Ben kept his expression neutral. It's a small town. Not that small. Ashley's smile stayed professional, but her eyes were calculating angles faster than Brainstorm. Which brings us to the more interesting question. What exactly are you? Human. Human with alien technology bonded to his wrist that allows instantaneous physical transformation into multiple species. The second lawyer, a woman named Jennifer, read from her notes. Our biometric scanners caught the partial shifts before you stabilized. Reptilian characteristics, canine, something crystalline. You cycled through at least 4 different DNA structures in 6 seconds. Ben's hand instinctively covered the Omnitrix. They'd been scanning him, analyzing, taking data without permission. The device, Ashley leaned forward, is remarkable, genuinely remarkable. Our science division has never seen anything like it. Which is why Vought International would like to extend an offer. I'm not interested in... You haven't heard the offer yet. Ashley's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned, typed something, then refocused. Ben. Can I call you Ben? You're 16 years old. You're lost in a world you don't understand. No money, no identification, no support system. Do you know what happens to unregistered superhumans in this country? The question hung in the air like a threat wrapped in concern. They get classified as domestic threats, Marcus supplied. Federal Bureau of Superhuman Affairs gets involved. Detention, testing, indefinite holding while they determine threat level. Unless, Ashley continued smoothly, they're affiliated with a recognized hero organization. Like Vought International, we could provide protection, legal identity, resources to help you find your way home. All we ask in return is cooperation. Ben had heard enough villain recruitment speeches to recognize the framework. Help us or else. What kind of cooperation? Research access to the device. Non-invasive, completely safe. Our scientists would study how it works, maybe develop applications that could benefit millions. Medical breakthroughs, disaster response technology. Ashley's pitch was smooth as silk. And maybe a few public appearances. You're already viral, Ben. People want to know who you are, where you came from, what you can do. Public appearances. Ben's jaw tightened. Like those heroes on stage, the Seven. Ashley's smile widened. The Seven are the finest heroes in the world. They save lives every day. Stop criminals. Protect the innocent. They're also the most beloved celebrities in America. Fame and heroism aren't mutually exclusive, Ben. They're complementary. Through the window, Ben watched smoke still rising from wherever that explosion had happened. Homelander and the others had been gone for 20 minutes. No news coverage on the screens in the conference room. No updates. Just Ashley's pitch and the lawyer's quiet intimidation. What was that explosion? Ben asked. Shouldn't we be helping? The lawyers exchanged glances. Ashley's expression never flickered. The Seven are handling it. That's what they do. You don't need to worry about, I'm a hero. Ben stood. People might be hurt. I should... Sit down. Ashley's voice lost its warmth. You're not a hero here. You're an unregistered superhuman who appeared without authorization. I'm in the middle of a corporate event. The only reason you're in this room instead of an FBSA holding cell is because I convinced my superiors you might be an asset worth cultivating. Ben stayed standing. The Omnitrix hummed against his wrist, ready. Let me be clearer. Ashley stood too, her height advantage deliberate. You have 3 options. 1, sign a consulting agreement with Vought. We help you, you help us. Everyone wins. 2, walk out that door and see how long you last before federal agents classify you as a Category 5 threat and deploy countermeasures. 3. Try to use that watch to fight your way out of this building, which will result in option 2 happening much, much faster. You can't just... We can. Marcus's tone was almost apologetic. Superhuman Activities Regulation Act of 2017. Any individual displaying superhuman abilities without registration or corporate sponsorship can be detained indefinitely for public safety assessment. You materialized on live television, Ben. 200 million people saw you. The government already knows you exist. The trap was elegant. Ben could almost admire it if he wasn't caught in it. What about getting home? He tried to keep his voice steady. You said you'd help, and we will. Ashley's warmth returned like flipping a switch. Our R&D division has the best dimensional theorists in the world. If there's a way to reverse whatever brought you here, they'll find it. But that takes time. Resources. Cooperation. She slid a tablet across the table. Contract terms scrolled across the screen. Ben caught phrases. Exclusive appearance rights. Technology licensing. Biometric data sharing, Vought International Reserves, all commercial applications. Just a standard consulting agreement, Ashley assured him. 6 months. Revisable. You help us understand the device, make a few public appearances to capitalize on your viral moment, and we throw every resource we have at getting you home. Plus room and board at Vought Tower, full security, legal protection, training facilities. It's a good deal, Ben. It was a cage, a comfortable, well-marketed cage, but still a cage. I need time to think about it. Of course. Ashley's smile could have sold ice to polar ice caps. Take 24 hours. But Ben, her voice dropped. Don't try to leave the building, for your own safety. New York isn't kind to unregistered supers. Especially ones that might accidentally level a city block if that watch malfunctions at the wrong time. She left with her lawyers, the door clicking shut with a finality that felt like a cell locking. Ben slumped into the chair, head in his hands. The Omnitrix glowed steady green. Fully functional, he could transform right now, jet ray through the window, get away from this corporate nightmare. But then what? He didn't know this world. Didn't know the rules, didn't know who to trust. The tablet Ashley left behind was still displaying the contract. Ben scrolled through it, looking for the catch. It didn't take long to find. Section 7, Paragraph 4. All derivative works, including but not limited to alien DNA samples, transformation technology, biological data, genetic material, and related intellectual property shall become the sole property of Vought International upon signature. They wanted to own the Omnitrix, own his transformations, own the alien DNA database that represented hundreds of species across the universe. Own him. Ben looked out at New York City. Somewhere out there, people were probably still in danger from that explosion. Real danger. And he was stuck in a conference room being told that helping them required signing away his identity to a corporation. This wasn't how heroism worked. This wasn't how any of this was supposed to work. The Omnitrix beeped softly, a notification he'd missed during Ashley's pitch. The device had been passively scanning the building while they talked. Ben pulled up the data, and his stomach dropped. 47 enhanced humans in Vought Tower. All with the same artificial mutation markers, all products of the same process. Every hero in this building was manufactured, and now they wanted to manufacture him too. Ben didn't stay in the conference room. 20 minutes after Ashley left, he slipped out, not as himself, but as gray matter, his tiny galvan form perfectly suited for crawling through Vought Tower's ventilation system. The Omnitrix might be glitching dimensionally, but the transformation still worked. Small blessings. The vents gave him perspective, literally and figuratively. Below, he watched Vought employees moving through sterile corridors, with the dead-eyed efficiency of corporate drones. Marketing meetings about Homelander's Q4 approval ratings, legal briefings on acceptable collateral damage thresholds, a PR team rehearsing a statement about the explosion, which they were calling a routine supervillain incident successfully neutralized by the Seven with minimal property damage. Minimal. Ben had seen the smoke, heard the screams. He crawled deeper, following the ventilation toward what looked like a research level. His Galvan brain processed information faster than human neurons, cataloging everything. Vought wasn't just a company. It was an empire built on superhuman exploitation. Every hero was a product line, every power was intellectual property, and they wanted his DNA catalog. The Omnitrix beeped. 10-minute warning. Ben dropped through a vent into an empty laboratory, transforming back to human behind a bank of servers. He needed information, needed to understand what he'd landed in before making any decisions. A computer terminal glowed invitingly. Password protected, but gray matter had memorized the login credentials he'd seen on 7 different screens during his vent crawl. Corporate security was depressingly predictable across universes. Ben's fingers flew across the keyboard. Files opened, internal documents, research reports, and there, buried in a folder labeled Compound V, Historical Development, was the truth. Frederick Vought, Nazi scientist, post-war recruitment, experimental serum derived from genetic manipulation, superhuman subjects created artificially, marketed as natural-born heroes. Entire industry built on a lie. Every hero in this world was injected as a baby with this Compound V. Every power was chemically induced, commercially owned, copyrighted. Ben's hands shook as he scrolled through casualty reports from failed trials. Children who died from bad batches. Adults whose bodies rejected the compound and exploded. Hundreds of test subjects classified as acceptable losses in pursuit of viable product. This wasn't heroism. This was corporate eugenics with a PR department. The Omnitrix suddenly blazed with alerts. Ben looked down at the watch face. External scans had detected compound Phi in the building's ventilation system. Trace amounts, but present. The entire tower was saturated with it at molecular levels. Had been for decades. Was that why the Omnitrix had malfunctioned? Dimensional breach plus exposure to an artificial mutagen it had no reference for? Before Ben could investigate further, alarms shrieked. Red lights flooded the lab. He'd tripped something. A silent security protocol, a motion sensor, something. Shit. Ben ran for the door, but it sealed. Magnetic locks, corporate voice on the intercom, unauthorized access to restricted files. Security en route. Remain where you are. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Ben slammed the Omnitrix dial. Green flash, transformation, but not what he'd selected. The watch was still glitching, still compensating for this universe's wrongness. Instead of jet tray, he got Humongosaur. 20 feet of armored dinosaur alien packed into a 12-foot-tall laboratory. Equipment shattered under his bulk. Ben roared in frustration, then used it. One massive fist punched through the sealed door like aluminum foil. The other smashed through the exterior wall, letting in New York morning light and a rush of cold air. 60 stories up, no problem. Ben burst through the opening, free-falling for 3 seconds before the Omnitrix cycled properly this time. Humongosaur shifted to jet tray mid-air, wings catching the wind. Propulsion redirecting his trajectory from fatal plummet to controlled glide. Below, New York City spread out in all its corrupt glory. Ben banked hard, flying low between buildings, trying to think. He'd just destroyed Vought property and accessed classified files. Ashley's "we can help you" offer was definitely off the table. But flying through Manhattan as a red alien with wings was the opposite of subtle. Phones appeared everywhere below him, people pointing, filming, uploading. Ben heard the notifications even from this height, thousands of people live streaming his flight. Alien Boy was already trending. Someone had created a hashtag in the 90 seconds he'd been airborne. A news helicopter spotted him, started following, broadcasting live. Unidentified flying object over Manhattan, the reporter's voice carried on the wind. Appears to be the same individual who materialized at Vought Tower this morning. Then something fast and blonde cut through his flight path. Homelander hovered in front of him, cape barely moving, arms crossed. His smile was gone. Going somewhere, sport? Ben banked hard, trying to gain altitude. Jet tray was fast, near light speed in space. But this wasn't space. This was New York airspace with buildings and civilians and nowhere to really open up. Homelander kept pace effortlessly. That's corporate property you just damaged. Also, some pretty serious classified files you accessed. Ashley's very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. We were going to be friends. I don't want to fight you. Ben's voice came out alien through Jetray's physiology. Just let me go. Can't do that. Homelander's eyes started glowing red. See, you're kind of a problem now. A viral problem, and Vought doesn't like problems that it doesn't control. The laser vision came without additional warning. Ben rolled mid-air, heat vision scorching past close enough to feel. He fired back with Jetray's neuroshock beams, but Homelander tanked them without flinching, laughing. That tickles. What else you got? The Omnitrix beeped. Time limit approaching. Not good. Ben dove between buildings, using the urban canyon for cover. Homelander followed, still smiling, still playing. This was a game to him. Cat and mouse, except the mouse could shapeshift and the cat was a psychopath in a cape. You know what's funny? Homelander's voice echoed off glass and steel. You remind me of someone. Starlight, when she was new. All idealistic. Thought heroes actually saved people because it was right. Instead of, because Vought's market research showed it polled well with demographics. Ben hit the Omnitrix dial mid-flight. Flash of green. Jetray became Big Chill, intangibility activating just as Homelander's fist passed through his chest. Oh, that's bullshit. Homelander spun, eyes blazing. What are you? Ben didn't answer. He flew through a building, still intangible, ice crystals forming on windows as he passed. Emerged 3 blocks away, trying to lose pursuit in the Manhattan sprawl. No such luck. Homelander caught up in seconds, but this time he wasn't alone. Queen Maeve dropped from above, super strong hands grabbing for Big Chill. Ben phased through her grip, but she'd herded him into a corner. A-Train appeared at street level, vibrating with barely contained speed. Black Noir stood on a rooftop, silent and watching. The Seven had mobilized. For him. Last chance, kid. Homelander hovered close enough that Ben could see the dead emptiness behind his eyes. Come back to the tower, sign the deal, be a good little asset, or we classify you as hostile and I stop playing nice. The Omnitrix beeped its final warning. 30 seconds until forced reversion to human. Ben looked at the heroes surrounding him. Manufactured corporate products pretending to be saviors, then down at the streets below, where thousands of people filmed everything on their phones, watched the spectacle, the show. This whole world was a show. Heroes were actors. Morality was marketing, and he'd accidentally become the most viral content in America. I'm not signing anything, Ben said through Big Chill's alien voice. Homelander's smile went cold. Wrong answer. Then the world went white with heat vision, and Ben learned exactly how far America's greatest hero would go on live television. Ben reverted to human mid-fall, Homelander's heat vision having flash-boiled the air where Big Chill had been. He plummeted through the gap between buildings, Omnitrix already cooling down, unavailable. 3 seconds until impact with the pavement. Queen Maeve caught him, not gently. Her super-strong grip bruised his ribs, but she caught him. Landed on the street hard enough to crack asphalt, depositing Ben on his feet before stepping back. Her expression was unreadable behind the warrior princess persona. "Stay down," she muttered, quiet enough that only Ben heard. Then, louder for the cameras. "Threat neutralized. Just a kid who doesn't know how things work yet." Homelander descended like a god passing judgment, boots touching concrete with barely a sound. Cameras from a dozen phones and 3 news helicopters captured every angle. A train vibrated to Ben's left. Black Noir's shadow fell across his right. The Seven had him boxed in completely. "Folks, everything's fine." Homelander's public voice activated, warm and reassuring. "Just a misunderstanding with our new friend here. Dimensional travel can be disorienting. We're gonna get him somewhere safe, figure out how to help him, nothing to worry about." He said it all while his hand clamped onto Ben's shoulder hard enough to make bone creak. The smile never reached his eyes. "Let's go somewhere private," Homelander suggested, which wasn't a suggestion. "Have a real conversation. Man to man or man to boy. How old are you again? 15? 16? 16? Ben tried to pull away. Might as well have tried to move a building. 16? Wow. I didn't have nearly as cool a watch when I was 16. Didn't have much of anything, actually. They kept me in a lab, ran tests, treated me like a science project instead of a person. You ever feel like that, Ben? Like people just see you for what you can do instead of who you are?" The question was probably meant to be relatable. Instead, it sounded like a threat wrapped in fake empathy. Homelander's grip tightened. "So here's what's going to happen. We're going back to the tower. You're going to apologize to Ashley for breaking her nice laboratory. Then we're all going to sit down and have an adult conversation about your situation. Sound good? And if I say no?" Homelander's laugh was loud enough to echo. "You're funny, I like you. But Ben, you don't get to say no. You're 16, you're lost, and you just committed corporate espionage and property destruction on live television. The grown-ups are making the decisions now." Ben's hand went to the Omnitrix. Still recharging, red light instead of green. Maybe 2 more minutes. "Don't even think about it." Homelander's voice dropped to a whisper, meant only for Ben. "I've got you by the shoulder. My hand is 6 inches from your head. If that watch lights up green, I squeeze. I'm faster than you are, sport. And human skulls? Not very durable. So let's be smart about this." It wasn't a bluff. Ben could see it in Homelander's eyes. The absolute certainty that he could and would kill a 16-year-old kid if challenged. And probably justify it on the evening news as necessary force against unknown threat. Queen Maeve looked away. A train checked his phone. Black Noir remained stone still. None of them intervened. Good boy. Homelander's smile returned full wattage. "See? We can work together. Now come on, Tower's just..." The street exploded. Not metaphorically. Actual explosion. A van Ben hadn't noticed detonated in a ball of fire and shrapnel that sent civilians scattering in the Seven into defensive positions. Homelander's grip released as he turned toward the threat, eyes glowing. In the chaos, someone grabbed Ben's other arm and yanked him into an alley. Hard, fast. Before he could process what was happening, he was being shoved into the back of a beat-up sedan that smelled like cigarettes and violence. "Move, Huey!" A Cockney accent barked from the driver's seat. The car peeled out as secondary explosions rocked the street. Ben caught a glimpse of Homelander through the rear window, scanning the chaos with mounting rage before a taller building blocked the view. "What? Who?" "Shut it." The driver, rough-looking guy in a black coat, focused on aggressive Manhattan driving. "You can thank us later. Or not. Don't really care." Next to Ben in the back seat, A younger guy with messy hair and a nervous expression tried for a reassuring smile. "I'm Huey. That's Butcher. We just saved your life." "Saved me?" Ben's adrenaline was catching up. "You blew up a street." "Empty van, mate. Just flashing noise. No one hurt." Butcher took a corner hard enough to make the sedan's tires scream. Unlike what Homelander would have done to your skull if we'd waited another 30 seconds. "You're welcome, by the way." The Omnitrix finally cycled green. "Available." Ben's thumb went to the dial immediately. "If you don't let me out right now, You're gonna what? Transform into something that brings the entire Seven down on this car? Smart." Butcher's eyes met Ben's in the rearview mirror. "Listen, boy genius. We're the only people in this shit city who aren't trying to own you, kill you, or turn you into a corporate mascot. So how about you sit tight? Let us get clear of Vaught's surveillance range, and then we'll have a proper chat about what the fuck you are and what you're doing in our universe." "Yeah?" The car swerved into a tunnel. Emergency vehicles screamed past in the opposite direction. Ben's mind raced through options. These people knew about Vought, knew about the surveillance, knew enough to plan a tactical extraction from the Seven. They weren't corporate, weren't heroes, weren't government. "Who are you?" Ben asked. Huey and Butcher exchanged glances. Butcher's smile was dark. "We're the boys, mate, and we kill soups for a living." The safe house looked like every condemned building in every crime movie Ben had seen. Industrial, abandoned, technically illegal to occupy. Butcher killed the engine in an underground garage that smelled like motor oil and something Ben didn't want to identify. Huey kept checking his phone nervously, watching for Vought drones or Seven flyovers. "Clear so far," Huey muttered. "But we should move fast. Vaught's facial recognition might have tagged us during the extraction." "Let him come." Butcher led them through a reinforced door into a space that had been converted into something between a military bunker and a conspiracy theorist's wet dream. Walls covered with photos of soupes, red string connecting them to corporate documents, surveillance equipment, weapons, a lot of weapons. 3 other people waited inside. A muscular black man with precisely organized equipment immediately stood, hand moving to a pistol. A thin guy with a goatee and wild eyes bounced on his heels near what looked like homemade explosives. A small Asian woman in the corner watched Ben with the predatory stillness of an apex predator. "Found him getting chatted up by Homelander," Butcher announced. "Figured we'd poach him before Vought added him to their roster." "You blew up 6th Avenue, the muscular man said flatly. "Marvin T. Miller. Call me MM, and that was fucking reckless even for you, Butcher." Nobody got hurt, just property damage and Homelander's feelings. Butcher grabbed a beer from a mini-fridge that had definitely seen better days. "Speaking of which, Ben, was it? You want to explain what the bloody hell you are and why you've got every soup in New York hunting you?" Ben's hand stayed on the Omnitrix dial. "You said you kill soups, you kill people." "People?" The French-accented man laughed without humor. "Non, mon ami. We kill monsters who rape, murder, and destroy, while companies like Vought give them medals and action figures. The soups, they are not people. They are weapons wrapped in capes." "Frenchie, ease up." Huey approached Ben carefully, hands visible. "Look, I know this is a lot. You just got here. Probably don't understand how things work yet. But those people at Vought Tower, they're not heroes. They're corporate assets who happen to have powers." "I know." Ben had read enough of those files. Seen enough already. "I found their research. Compound V. They manufacture superheroes. It's all fake." The woman in the corner spoke for the first time, voice rough like she didn't use it often. She made hand signs, sign language, which Frenchie translated. "Kimiko says you're observant." "Good. Means you might live longer than most." MM studied Ben with the careful assessment of someone used to tactical situations. "That watch. We saw the footage. You can transform. How many forms? Depends. Ben wasn't about to give them everything. Enough. Enough for what? Butcher took a long drink. Enough to take down Homelander, because that's the end game here, mate. Every soup in this city works for Vought, and Vaught's CEO of horror is that blonde cunt who almost caved your skull in. We want him gone, permanently, and you've got alien tech that might actually give us an edge. There it was, the real reason for the rescue. They wanted to use him, just like Vought. Different sales pitch, same underlying transaction. I'm not killing anyone, Ben said firmly. Even Homelander. Butcher's eyebrow raised. You saw him, yeah? Felt his hand on your shoulder? Heard the threat in his voice? That thing in a cape has murdered hundreds. Raped women. Destroyed families. All while Vaught's PR department sells him as America's guardian angel. You really think he deserves mercy? Ben had fought Vilgax, Agregor, Darkstar, actual villains who threatened entire species. But he'd always found another way. Always. There's always another option. Always. Fucking hell. Butcher laughed bitterly. We got ourselves a Boy Scout. Perfect. Give him a break. Huey sat down on a crate, looking exhausted. Ben, I get it. I was like you. Thought there had to be good guys and bad guys. Clear lines, moral high ground. Then A-Train, one of the seven, ran through my girlfriend while she was standing on the sidewalk. Killed her instantly. Didn't even slow down. Vaught's lawyers paid me off, their PR team made it disappear, and A-Train got a standing ovation at the next press conference. The pain in Huey's voice was raw enough to make Ben wince. That's when I learned, Huey continued. There are no heroes here, just people with powers and the corporation that owns them. And if you're not with Vought, you're either the boys or you're dead. Or option 3, interjected. You go independent, try to be a real hero, and Vought crushes you through legal warfare, public smear campaigns, or just sends Homelander to laser you in half. We've seen it happen. Starlight tried to buck the system from inside. Look where that got her, trapped, compromised, still wearing the costume. Ben's mind raced. Everything they were saying matched what he'd discovered. But their solution, killing soups, blowing up vans, operating like terrorists, that wasn't heroism either. That was just violence with different branding. What do you want from me? Ben asked. Information, for starters. Pulled up a tablet showing Vaught's internal network. You accessed their classified files. What did you find? Compound V origins, test subject mortality rates, corporate structure, financial connections to the government. Ben hesitated. Why? Because knowledge is ammunition, Butcher said. Every piece of dirt we find on Vought, every connection we expose, every corporate lie we reveal, that's a weapon. We can't beat soups in a straight fight. Too fucking strong, too fucking fast, but we can dismantle the system that protects them, make them vulnerable. Then, he smiled darkly. Then we put them down like the rabid dogs they are. The Omnitrix glowed green on Ben's wrist, ready for transformation if this went south. The boys noticed, tensing slightly. Easy, Huey said. We're not the enemy here. We just want the same thing you do, to stop Vought from destroying more lives. By becoming murderers. By doing what's necessary. Frenchie shrugged. Sometimes the monster must be fought with monstrous methods. It is not pretty, it is not noble, but it is effective. Kimiko made more signs. Frenchie translated, she says you smell like fear and confusion, but also determination. You want to go home. She understands wanting home. Ben looked at the woman, at Kimiko, and saw something in her eyes that made him pause. Trauma. Survival. Someone who'd been turned into a weapon against her will, like the soups Vought created, like what they wanted to do with the Omnitrix. I do want to go home, Ben admitted, but not if it means becoming what I fight against. Then you've got a problem, mate. Butcher leaned against the wall, beard dangling from his fingers. Because in this world, you're either a product, a corpse, or one of us. Vought doesn't offer fourth options, and Homelander really doesn't. MM's phone buzzed. He checked it, expression darkening. Vought just issued a public statement. They're calling Ben a dimensional refugee in need of protective custody. Ashley's on CNN right now claiming the boys kidnapped you for terrorist purposes. They've got a manhunt mobilizing. How long? Butcher asked. Hours. Maybe less. Ben stood, mind made up. I'm not joining you. I'm not joining Vought. I'm finding my own way home. With what resources? Butcher challenged. What money? What tech? You're 16, illegal in this dimension, and every camera in New York is looking for you. Good luck with that independence, hero. Before Ben could respond, alarms shrieked. MM's equipment lit up with proximity alerts. Huey ran to the monitors, face going pale. We've got incoming, fast. The screen showed thermal signatures approaching the building. 7 of them, the 7. Fuck. Butcher grabbed a rifle. How'd they find us this quick? MM was already moving, throwing weapons to Frenchie and Kimiko. Doesn't matter, we need to move. Now. Ben heard it then. The sound of something hitting the building's roof at supersonic speed. Concrete crumbling, Homelander's voice echoing down through the infrastructure. Hey Ben, I know you're in there. Come out and we can talk about this like civilized people, or I can come in. Your choice. The building groaned under pressure. Homelander was tearing through the roof. Butcher looked at Ben, then at the Omnitrix. So, boy genius, you want to be independent? Start now. That watch got anything that can fight a god? Ben's thumb went to the dial as the ceiling began to collapse. Time to find out. Ben slammed the Omnitrix dial. Green flash. The transformation took him faster than thought, not Humongosaur or Jetray, but way big. The ultimate size-shifting alien. Except the safe house ceiling was 12 feet high, and way big stood at 60 feet minimum. The building exploded outward. Ben erupted through concrete and rebar as a towering red and white giant, the boys scattering below as debris rained down. Homelander hovered at eye level now, cape billowing, and for the first time since Ben arrived in this universe, he saw genuine surprise on the psychopath's face. Holy shit, Homelander breathed. You can do that. Way Big's massive fist answered for him. Homelander dodged, but barely. The shockwave from the punch sent him tumbling through the air. Ben pressed the advantage, each step shaking the street, cars bouncing like toys. The rest of the 7 scattered. A-Train vibrated away at super speed. Black Noir grappled up a building. Queen Maeve grabbed civilians, pulling them clear. Only Homelander stayed in the fight, eyes blazing red as he unleashed heat vision at Waybig's chest. It hurt. Actually hurt. The laser vision cut through Waybig's armor plating like it was paper, burning deep. Ben roared in pain, stumbling backward through an abandoned warehouse. Homelander pressed forward, relentless. Big mistake, kid. I don't care how tall you get, you're still just meat. Below, the boys were evacuating through the sewers. Ben caught glimpses, MM coordinating, Frenchie setting charges, Kimiko carrying equipment, Huey filming everything on his phone. Always filming, always building evidence. The Omnitrix beeped. Time limit. Way Big wasn't sustainable in urban combat with innocent people around. Ben needed to shift strategies, Homelander hit him like a missile. The impact sent Way Big crashing through another building, this one occupied. Ben heard screams, felt the structure collapsing, people trapped inside. His massive hand instinctively moved to catch falling debris, protect the civilians. Homelander capitalized. Heat vision raked across Way Big's arm, severing muscle and alien tissue. Ben's roar of agony echoed across Manhattan. That's the problem with being big. Homelander circled like a shark. More surface area to hurt, more collateral damage when you fall. And you will fall. The Omnitrix flashed red. Final warning. Ben had seconds to choose. Stay as Way Big and risk civilian casualties, or transform to something else and lose the size advantage. He chose civilians. Green flash. Way Big became XLR-8, velocity-based alien built for speed. Ben hit the ground running, grabbing people from the collapsing building as he went. 5 civilians in 3 seconds, then 10, then 20. Moving faster than A-Train, faster than human eyes could track, evacuating the entire structure before it pancaked into rubble. Homelander's heat vision carved through the space Ben had been occupying a microsecond earlier. "Oh, you're fast," Homelander laughed. "I like fast." He didn't chase. He just hovered, watching with predatory interest as Ben deposited civilians 6 blocks away. Studying, learning, calculating how to counter each transformation. When Ben returned, the rest of the 7 had assembled. All of them. Queen Maeve looked conflicted. A-Train bounced on his heels, eager. Black Noir stood ready. And behind them, news helicopters filmed everything. "Ben!" Homelander's voice carried across the devastation. "This doesn't have to be a fight. Come back to the tower. Let us help you. We can protect you from terrorists like the boys." The narrative. Always the narrative. Ben looked at the cameras, at the hundreds of phones filming from safe distances. Vought would spin this. Make him the threat. Make the boys the villains. Make Homelander the hero protecting New York from dimensional invasion. "I know what you are," Ben shouted back through XLR-8's alien voice. "I read the files. Compound V, Frederick Vought, Nazi experiments. You're not heroes, you're corporate products." The cameras caught all of it. Homelander's smile fractured. "Oh, Ben. You really shouldn't have said that on live television." He moved, faster than XLR-8 could react. Homelander's hand grabbed Ben by the throat, lifting him off the ground. The grip was iron, unbreakable. Ben clawed at the fingers crushing his windpipe, the Omnitrix already cycling to a new form. Homelander's other hand grabbed the watch. "No more transformations." Homelander's voice was dead calm. "No more running. You've been very bad, Ben. Destroyed property, accessed classified information, assaulted heroes, endangered civilians, and now you're spreading lies about Compound V on national television. That's a lot of crimes for one day." Ben couldn't breathe. The Omnitrix pulsed desperately against Homelander's grip, trying to activate, blocked by the pressure. Black spots crowded his vision. "Here's what happens next," Homelander continued conversationally. "I take you back to the tower. Vaught's science division removes that watch, carefully, painfully if necessary. We study it, reverse engineer it, maybe even use the alien DNA for a new product line. And you get to live in a very comfortable cell, thinking about how things could have been different if you just signed Ashley's contract when you had the chance." Through fading consciousness, Ben saw Queen Maeve's expression, saw her make a decision. She hit Homelander. Not hard enough to hurt him, nothing could, but enough to break his grip. Ben dropped, gasping, the Omnitrix finally cycling free. Maeve stepped between them, armored body language screaming defiance. "He's a kid, John. He's a threat. He saved those people in the building, actual heroism. When's the last time any of us did that without cameras forcing us to?" Homelander's eyes went nuclear red. "Maggie, move." "No." The tension crystallized. The 7 watched their leader and second-in-command face off. A train's phone was out, probably texting Ashley for instructions. Black Noir remained statue still, loyalty unclear. Ben used the distraction, slammed the Omnitrix, became Ghost Freak. Intangible, invisible, escaping through dimensions they couldn't follow. He phased through the street, through the sewers, following the path the boys had taken. Behind him, he heard Homelander's scream of rage and the sound of someone being hit very, very hard. Queen Maeve had just signed her own death warrant to give a 16-year-old stranger a chance to escape. Ben found the boys 3 tunnels over, regrouping in a maintenance junction. They had weapons ready, expecting pursuit. Instead, they got a terrifying alien ghost materializing from the walls. Christ! Butcher nearly shot him before recognizing the Omnitrix symbol on Ghost Freak's chest. "Give a bloke some warning!" Ben transformed back to human, shaking. "Homelander almost killed me. And Queen Maeve, she stopped him. She helped me. Why would she? Because even the broken ones got a shred of conscience left," said quietly. "Maeve used to be a real hero, before Vought corrupted her, before she learned how things really work. Sometimes that old self bleeds through." "She's dead now," Butcher said flatly. "Homelander doesn't tolerate defiance, especially not on live television. Hope her sacrifice was worth it, mate." The casual way he said it made Ben's stomach turn. A hero had just died to save him, and Butcher treated it like Tuesday. "We need to move," Huey urged. "Vaught's got the entire NYPD mobilized. FBI's probably incoming. They'll flood these tunnels within the hour." "Where do we go?" Frenchie asked. Was already packing equipment. Safe House Beta, upstate. Mallory's old compound. Too obvious. Butcher stared at Ben, calculating. "We need leverage. Something that makes Vought think twice before sending the whole 7 after us again." "Like what?" Ben demanded. Butcher's smile was cold. "Like proof that their golden boy just murdered Queen Maeve on live television. Like footage of you accessing their classified files. Like a 16-year-old kid with alien technology testifying about Vaught's corporate crimes to every news outlet that'll listen. You want to use me as bait. I want to use you as ammunition. There's a difference." Ben looked at the boys, at their weapons, their scars, their exhausted eyes. They'd been fighting this war for years, fighting corporate evil with terrorism, fighting manufactured heroes with murder. They'd become exactly what they hated to survive, and they wanted him to join them. "I need time to think," Ben said. "You got 6 hours," replied. "That's how long until Vought triangulates our position. Then you either trust us, trust yourself, or trust that Homelander will give you a third chance, which he won't." They moved through the tunnels, silent except for the sound of their footsteps and distant sirens above. Ben's Omnitrix glowed steady green, ready for whatever came next. But for the first time since arriving in this nightmare universe, Ben wasn't sure transformation was the answer. Some problems couldn't be solved by becoming bigger, faster, or stronger. Some problems required impossible choices. The upstate safe house was a bunker disguised as a farmhouse, 30 miles from anywhere that mattered. Had driven them in a stolen van while Huey monitored police bands and Butcher drank. Frenchie hummed something French and unsettling. Kimiko stared out the window, occasionally signing things that made Frenchie laugh darkly. Ben sat in the back, replaying the fight in his head. Queen Maeve's intervention, Homelander's rage, the casual certainty with which Butcher had predicted her death. His phone, the one had given him with encrypted everything, glowed with news alerts. He shouldn't look, knew he shouldn't. Looked anyway. Queen Maeve, dead in tragic accident during supervillain confrontation, Vaught's official statement. Training exercise gone wrong. Dimensional being, that was Ben, had hostile capabilities. Maeve died heroically saving civilians. Homelander devastated, 7 in mourning. The comments section was already full of RIP messages and conspiracy theories. A few people questioned the timing. Most accepted the narrative, because that's what Vought did. controlled the story, shaped the truth, made murder look like martyrdom. She knew, said quietly, noticing Ben's screen. Maeve knew what would happen when she stepped between you and Homelander. Did it anyway. That's the person she used to be, the hero before Vought. So why'd she stay? Ben asked. If she knew what they were, why not leave? Huey fielded that one. Contract, legal ownership of her image, powers, identity. Vaught's lawyers built a cage with paperwork. She tried to leave once, early on. They threatened to sue her into bankruptcy, destroy her family's finances, release doctored footage making her look like a criminal. She folded. They all fold eventually. Except Starlight, Frenchie noted. She still fights. From inside. Starlight's different, said. She's got public support, moral authority. Can't kill her without massive blowback. But Maeve, been there too long, compromised too much. Vought could explain her death, already did. The farmhouse came into view, isolated, fortified, completely off-grid. They pulled into the barn, reinforced doors closing behind them. Inside was another setup like the previous safe house, but bigger. More weapons, more surveillance, more evidence of a long, brutal campaign against superhuman tyranny. An older black woman waited in the main room, gray hair cut military short, eyes that had seen too much and stopped blinking years ago. She held a tablet showing footage of Ben's fight. Grace Mallory, she introduced herself without warmth. Retired CIA, founded this little resistance movement, and you're the interdimensional complications that just cost us operational security and a potential asset in Queen Maeve. Grace, started. I'm not blaming the boy. I'm stating facts. Mallory's gaze dissected Ben. You're 16, powerful, idealistic, and completely unprepared for what Vought International represents. They're not just a corporation. They're a cancer metastasized through every level of American government, military, and media. You can't fight them with heroism. You can't appeal to morality they don't possess. You can only cut them out, completely. She pulled up more footage. Not from today, older. Security camera recordings, phone videos, leaked internal files. Ben watched Homelander laser a woman who'd threatened to expose him, watched A-Train kill someone during a drug deal, watched the Deep assault a woman in a Vought conference room while security ignored her screams. Watched Soups commit atrocities that would have made Ben's worst enemies look restrained. This is what you're dealing with, Mallory said. These aren't villains hiding in the shadows. They're monsters operating in broad daylight with corporate protection, and Vought keeps making more of them. Compound V trials continuing, new Soups every quarter, an entire industry built on creating weapons and calling them heroes. Ben felt sick. He'd seen evil before. Vilgax, the hybrid, Agregor. But they'd been honest about what they were. Vought wrapped its evil in flags and marketing campaigns and PR statements about saving lives. Why are you showing me this? Ben asked. Because Butcher wants to recruit you, and I want you to understand what you'd be signing up for. Mallory pulled up different footage. The boys in action. Frenchie setting bombs in a Vought laboratory. Kimiko tearing through security guards with lethal efficiency. Butcher torturing a Soup for information before putting a bullet in his brain. Covering up their tracks with professional precision. This is how we fight, Mallory continued. Terrorism by government definition, asymmetric warfare by ours. We can't beat Soups in direct combat, so we destroy their infrastructure, expose their crimes, eliminate them when opportunity allows. It's ugly. It's immoral by conventional standards. But it's effective. It's murder, Ben said. It's war, and in war, you don't win by being more noble than your enemy. You win by being willing to do what they won't expect. Butcher leaned against the wall, arms crossed. She's right, you know. You go back to being a hero, saving civilians, fighting fair, giving monsters second chances. Vought will own you within a week, or Homelander will kill you and wear your watch as a trophy. Those are your options if you don't adapt. There's always another way. Name one, Mallory challenged. One way to stop Vought that doesn't involve either working within their system, which corrupts you, or fighting from outside it, which requires methods you find distasteful. Ben thought of the plumbers back home, of Grandpa Max's team that fought intergalactic threats through cooperation and law. But that required infrastructure. Trust, systems that worked. Here, the systems were corrupted. The law protected the criminals. The government was complicit. What about exposure? Ben tried. We have evidence. We could leak everything, let the public decide. Huey laughed bitterly. We've leaked before. Compound V's origins, soup crimes, corporate corruption. You know what happened? Vaught's PR machine spun it as fake news. Their lawyers sued whistleblowers into silence. Their media empire buried the stories. And the public didn't want to believe their heroes were monsters. Easier to trust the narrative than face the truth. Show him the Becker file, Butcher said quietly. MM hesitated. Butcher, that's personal. Show him. MM pulled up a case file. A woman named Becca Butcher, married to William Butcher. Raped by Homelander 8 years ago while working at Vought. Disappeared. Presumed dead, but actually hidden by Vought in a secret compound, raising Homelander's son. Billy Butcher had spent nearly a decade thinking she was dead, only to discover Vought had kept her prisoner to protect their most valuable asset's reputation. That's why I do this, Butcher said, voice empty of emotion. Not for justice, not for the greater good, for revenge, because Homelander took everything from me and Vought covered it up. So I'll burn down their entire empire and piss on the ashes. If that makes me a monster too? Fine. At least I'm honest about it. The room fell silent, except for equipment humming. Ben looked at the Omnitrix. He could leave right now. Transform into jet ray, fly somewhere remote, try to fix the dimensional malfunction on his own. But where would he go? This entire world was Vaught's playground, and even if he got home, he'd be leaving behind a universe where corporate evil mass-produced superpowered psychopaths. I won't kill, Ben said finally. I don't care what they've done. I won't become what I fight. Then you're useless to us, Butcher said bluntly. We need soldiers, not Boy Scouts. Billy, MM started. No, he needs to hear it. We're not running a charity for interdimensional bleeding hearts. Every person in this room has blood on their hands because that's what it takes to fight Vought. If Ben can't accept that, he can't be part of the boys. Mallory watched the exchange with calculating eyes. There might be a middle path. Ben doesn't have to kill to be useful. His transformations give us capabilities we've never had. Infiltration, reconnaissance, extraction. The Omnitrix makes him the perfect intelligence asset. I'm not a spy, Ben protested. No, you're a 16-year-old with alien technology that Vought wants desperately, which makes you the best possible bait for drawing out their operations. You want to be a hero. Help us expose what Vaught's really doing, document it. Provide evidence even their PR machine can't spin away. And when that evidence requires entering places guarded by supes who'll kill me, that's where the not killing comes in handy, Mallory said. You subdue, we extract. You expose, we publish. Division of labor. You keep your moral high ground. We do what's necessary with the information you provide. It was seductive. A way to help without compromising his values. A way to fight Vought without becoming like them. But Ben had played enough video games to recognize a slippery slope when he saw one. How long before subduing becomes killing? Ben asked. How long before I'm just another asset in your war? Longer than if you go back to Vought, Butcher said, which is where you'll end up if you don't pick a side. So what's it gonna be, Ben 10? You with the boys, or you on your own against an empire that owns everything? Before Ben could answer, alarms shrieked. Huey's monitors lit up with proximity alerts. Grabbed weapons. Kimiko moved to a defensive position. On the security feeds, a familiar figure descended from the sky toward the farmhouse. Homelander, alone. How the fuck did he find us? Frenchie demanded. Mallory's expression darkened. Doesn't matter. He's here. Homelander landed in the driveway, cape settling perfectly. He looked directly at the camera and smiled. Ben, I know you can hear me. Come out and let's talk. Just you and me. Leave the terrorists inside. I promise I won't hurt you. Every word was a lie. Ben could hear it even through the speakers. This is it, Butcher said, checking his rifle. We can fight, but we won't win. Not against him. Best we can do is buy you time to run. He'll kill you, Ben said. Yeah, probably. Butcher's smile was sharp. But at least we'll die fighting monsters instead of becoming them. You should go, mate, out the back. Huey knows the evacuation routes. The boys began preparing for a last stand against a god who couldn't be killed. Except Ben had something they didn't. He had the Omnitrix. And despite everything, despite the moral compromises and impossible choices, he was still a hero. Even in hell, maybe that mattered. Ben walked out the front door with his hands raised. Homelander stood 50 feet away, backlit by afternoon sun like a religious painting. The smile was still painted on, but his eyes promised violence. Behind Ben, he could feel the boys watching through windows, weapons ready, knowing this was probably a suicide mission. There's the smart move, Homelander said. See, we can be reasonable. Now how about you deactivate that watch and we have an actual conversation? Adult to teenager. Close enough. You killed Queen Maeve. Ben's voice was steady. She helped me, and you killed her. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maeve died in a tragic accident during a supervillain engagement. It's all over the news. I was devastated. Homelander's expression didn't change. But I'm a professional. I can't let personal grief stop me from doing my job, which right now involves bringing you back to Vought Tower for your own protection. Protection from what? From the boys. From yourself. From accidentally hurting someone with technology you don't fully understand. Homelander took a step closer. Ben, I've seen your file. You're a good kid. Hero back home. Saved your world multiple times. I respect that, but this isn't your world. Here, heroism requires structure, organization, corporate backing. You can't just fly around transforming into monsters and expect society to function. Every word was technically true and fundamentally poisonous. Homelander was good at this. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the reframing of corporate tyranny as necessary order. I know about Compound V, Ben said. I know you're not natural-born heroes. You're products. Homelander's smile tightened. And? Everyone's a product of something. You're a product of that watch. Maeve was a product of Compound V. What's the difference? We all use what we're given to protect people. That's heroism, regardless of origin. The difference is consent. Those babies couldn't choose. Those test subjects who died, they didn't volunteer for Vaught's experiments. Progress requires sacrifice. Homelander's voice went cold. You want to know the real difference between us, Ben? I accept that. I understand that sometimes people get hurt so that greater good can be achieved. You're still clinging to childish morality, where everyone can be saved and nobody has to die. That's not how the world works. Ben's thumb was on the Omnitrix dial. One transformation away from Way Big or Atomix or any of the powerhouse aliens that might actually hurt Homelander. But the farmhouse was behind him. The boys were inside. Collateral damage in this fight would be catastrophic. I reviewed your file more carefully. Homelander continued conversationally. Your Omnitrix has some fascinating transformations. Humongousaur, way big, chromastone. But you know what caught our science team's attention? 2 words in the alien database. Alien X. Ben's blood went cold. Yeah, that got a reaction. Homelander's eyes gleamed. According to the Omnitrix readout we captured during your initial scan, Alien X is classified as a celestial sapien, reality warping capabilities on a cosmic scale. Basically, God-level powers. That true? Ben said nothing. I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Which means you've been holding back. Way back. You could have ended this fight the moment it started. Could have rewritten reality so Vought never existed. Could have made me disappear with a thought. But you didn't. Want to know why I think that is? Enlighten me. Because Alien X comes with a cost. Something that makes it unusable, or at least highly restricted. Maybe it's dangerous. Maybe it's unpredictable. Maybe it requires conditions you can't meet. But it's there, sitting in your watch, and you're terrified of using it. Homelander was right. Alien X required convincing 2 other personalities, Serena and Bellicus, to agree on any action. The last time Ben had used it, he'd been trapped in debate for weeks of subjective time. Using Alien X was like wielding a nuclear weapon that required committee approval for every atom it split. Vaught's scientists think they can extract that power, Homelander said. Isolate it, synthesize it. Create a compound V variant that grants reality warping abilities without the drawbacks. Imagine that. An army of supes who can reshape the world with thoughts. That's the future, Ben. And you're the key to unlocking it. You're insane. I'm practical. Homelander's smile never wavered. You're coming back with me. We're taking that watch, and you can either cooperate and make it easy, or resist and make it painful. Your choice. Ben activated the Omnitrix. Not for Alien X, not for way big, for something Homelander wouldn't expect. He transformed into gray matter, the tiny Galvan form, 3 inches tall, super intelligent. Before Homelander could react, Ben disappeared into the grass, brain processing tactical options at genius-level speed. Oh, that's cute, Homelander said, eyes already tracking with heat vision ready. You think being small helps? I can hear your heartbeat, Ben. Smell your alien biochemistry. You can't hide from me. Ben knew. That's why hiding wasn't the plan. He'd spent the last 30 seconds of transformation calculating angles, distances, structural weaknesses. Gray matter's brain processed information like a quantum computer, and what it calculated was simple. Homelander was invulnerable to physical force, but he was still affected by environmental factors. Ben reached the farmhouse's foundation and scrambled through a maintenance gap, found the breaker box. Identified the connection to MM's modified electrical grid, the one jury-rigged to power experimental weapons the boys had been developing. Gray matter's tiny hands rewired connections in 5 seconds, redirected power flow, overloaded capacitors, created a cascade failure that would... The farmhouse's electrical system exploded. Not literally, but every weapon MM had modified, every jury-rigged power cell, every experimental system simultaneously discharged at maximum output. The electromagnetic pulse wouldn't hurt Homelander, but it would sure as hell blind his enhanced senses for 3 seconds. Ben transformed mid-run. Gray matter became XLR-8. He burst from the farmhouse at velocity, grabbing the boys one by one. Huey, Frenchie, Kimiko, MM, Butcher, depositing them a quarter-mile away before Homelander's vision cleared. The Omnitrix beeped, time limit approaching. Ben skidded to a stop as the boys stared at him in shock. You have maybe 2 minutes before he tracks us. Run, now. You could have left us, MM said. Yeah, I could have. Butcher actually laughed. Maybe you're not completely useless after all. Then Homelander's heat vision carved through the tree line and they were running again. The next hour was a blur of transformations and near-death experiences. Ben cycled through aliens, Big Chill for intangibility, Jet Ray for speed, Humongousaur for blocking attacks. The boys used every guerrilla tactic they'd developed over years of running from Vought. Frenchie's smoke grenades, MM's pre-positioned caches, Huey's knowledge of Manhattan's infrastructure, Kimiko's raw survival instinct. They made it to a subway maintenance tunnel. Huey disabled the security cameras. Frenchie rigged a false trail. Contacted Mallory for extraction coordinates. Homelander's voice echoed through the tunnel. "You're only delaying the inevitable, Ben. You can't run forever." Butcher checked his ammunition. "He's right, you know. We're out of safe houses, out of tricks. Next move, Vought finds us. Unless we give them something bigger to worry about," said carefully. "Ben, that Alien X transformation, could you actually use it?" "No." Ben was firm. "It's too dangerous, too unpredictable. Even if it means stopping Homelander permanently. Especially then. Alien X doesn't just stop threats, it rewrites reality. I could accidentally erase this entire universe trying to fix one problem." Huey was scrolling through his phone, monitoring Vaught's response. "They're mobilizing everything. The Seven, private military, FBI's FBSA division. They want you that badly." "Not me," Ben said quietly. "The Omnitrix, the alien DNA, the power to create new soups without Compound V's limitations. I'm just the delivery system." Kimiko made signs. Frenchie translated. "She says we should destroy the watch." "Can't." Ben had tried before, during the hybrid invasion. "It's DNA bonded to me. Removing it requires Galvan technology I don't have access to, and destroying it would probably kill me in the process. So we're protecting a weapon everyone wants and nobody can safely use," Butcher summarized. "Brilliant. There might be another option." Mallory's voice came through MM's communicator. "I've been reviewing Ben's scans. The dimensional malfunction that brought him here, it's not permanent. The Omnitrix is trying to recalibrate, find his home frequency. Given time and the right conditions, it might succeed." "How much time?" Ben asked. 72 hours, maybe less. But you'd need to be somewhere Vought can't find you, somewhere their sensors can't track the Omnitrix's energy signature. "Nowhere like that exists," Huey said. "Vought has satellites, ground sensors, informants everywhere." "There's one place." Looked grim. Sage Grove Psychiatric Facility, the abandoned wing. It's lead-lined for Compound V experiments, EM-shielded, off-grid. Vought shut it down after the massacre there, but the structure's still intact. "Massacre," Ben repeated. "Compound V trials gone wrong. Patients developed powers and went insane. Killed each other, killed staff. Vought covered it up, bulldozed the evidence. Except the building itself, too contaminated to demolish safely." Butcher smiled darkly. "So we're hiding the interdimensional complications in a haunted asylum full of V-contaminated corpses. Perfect." Before anyone could argue, Homelander's heat vision punched through the tunnel ceiling. Debris rained down. The boys scattered, but Ben was already transforming. Diamond Head, crystalline alien resistant to energy attacks. The laser vision reflected off his faceted body, scattering harmlessly. "Enough running!" Homelander descended through the hole he'd made. "Ben, I'm trying to be patient here, but you're testing limits that don't exist. Come with me now, or everyone you're protecting dies, starting with the scared one." His finger pointed at Huey. Ben's crystalline fists formed diamond-hard spikes. You'll have to go through me." "Gladly," Homelander charged. Ben braced, knowing this was going to hurt. Then Kimiko hit Homelander from the side. It didn't do damage, but it surprised him enough that his trajectory shifted. Ben used the opening. Diamond shards launched from his arms like projectiles. They shattered against Homelander's skin, but they bought seconds. Frenchie detonated charges. fired experimental rounds that actually made Homelander flinch. Butcher threw everything at him, grenades, bullets, pure rage. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. Homelander was too strong, too fast, too invulnerable. But the boys weren't trying to win. They were buying time for Ben to run. "Go," shouted. "We'll cover your escape. I'm not leaving you to die. We're already dead if you get captured." Butcher fired another burst. "Omnitrix is the only leverage we have. Get to Sage Grove. 72 hours. Don't waste our sacrifice being fucking noble." The Omnitrix beeped, transformation ending. Ben made the choice heroes in his world never had to make. He ran, left the boys to face Homelander alone, transformed into jet ray and flew toward coordinates he'd memorized, toward a contaminated asylum that might shield him long enough to get home. Behind him, he heard screams, heard Homelander's laughter, heard what sounded like bodies being broken. Ben flew faster, hating himself, hating this universe, hating that sometimes running was the only way to fight another day. Welcome to the boys' world, where heroism means impossible choices and survival requires compromise. Sage Grove Psychiatric Facility looked like every horror movie asylum Ben had ever seen, but worse. The abandoned wing rose against the night sky like a monument to corporate atrocities, windows shattered, walls stained with substances Ben didn't want to identify. The Omnitrix's passive scans detected trace compound V radiation saturating every surface. People had died here, horribly. Ben landed as Big Chill, intangibility letting him phase through the lead-lined walls that were supposed to shield him from Vaught's sensors. Inside was worse. Examination rooms with restraints still attached to rusted gurneys. Holding cells with scratch marks on the inside. A recreation area where someone had written, "They made us monsters," in what looked disturbingly like dried blood. This was where Vought tested compound Vi on adults. Where they learned that the serum didn't work on mature biology. Where they documented failures and called them acceptable losses. Ben transformed back to human, conserving the Omnitrix's power. 72 hours, Mallory had said. 3 days hiding in a corpse-contaminated facility while Vought hunted him and the boys. He couldn't think about the boys. Couldn't let himself imagine what Homelander had done after Ben fled. Had to focus on survival, on getting home, on not letting their sacrifice be meaningless. The Omnitrix glowed softly, its internal systems already working on dimensional recalibration. Progress bars scrolled across the faceplate in Galvan script. 67 hours, 43 minutes remaining. Ben found what looked like a relatively clean office and barricaded the door. Set the Omnitrix to alert him if it detected any electromagnetic signatures approaching. Then he did what he'd been avoiding since arriving in this nightmare universe. He let himself break down. 16 years old, trapped in a world where heroes were corporate products and genuine morality was fatal. Queen Maeve had died protecting him. The boys had bought his escape with blood, and Ben was hiding in an asylum, waiting for technology to save him while people who'd helped him suffered because Vought wanted to own his DNA. The Omnitrix beeped, not an alert, a message. Internal storage had captured video during the tunnel fight. Ben's hands shook as he played it back. The boys had survived, barely. Homelander had beaten them bloody but left them alive, as bait, as a trap, as proof that Ben's allies would be punished until he surrendered. The footage showed with a broken arm, Huey's face purple with bruising, Frenchie unconscious, Kimiko still fighting until Homelander grabbed her by the throat and threatened to snap her neck if Butcher didn't reveal Ben's location. Butcher had spit in Homelander's face. So Homelander broke his legs. Slowly. Then told them all exactly what would happen when he found Ben. How he'd peel the Omnitrix from Ben's corpse. How Vaught's scientists would vivisect him to understand the alien technology. how they'd use the DNA database to create a new generation of soups that made the Seven look quaint. The video ended with Homelander looking directly at whatever device had recorded it. Looking at Ben. "Tick-tock, kid. 72 hours. I'll find you in 48. And when I do, your little terrorist friends are the first ones I kill in front of you. Then everyone you might have smiled at since arriving. Then random civilians until you beg me to take the watch and end it. That's a promise." Ben shut off the playback, stomach churning. This was his fault. His presence had brought this down on the boys, on Queen Maeve, on everyone who tried to help him navigate Vaught's corporate evil. The Omnitrix pulsed again. Different alert, something approaching the facility. Ben tensed, ready to transform, but the signature was wrong for Homelander. Multiple contacts, human-level enhancement, moving tactically. He crept to a window, staying in shadows. Below, a Vought security team swept the grounds with scanners. Not the Seven, not Homelander, just corporate enforcers following protocol. They wouldn't find him. The lead lining worked, but their presence meant Vought was checking everywhere. Systematically. Homelander's boast about 48 hours might have been conservative. Ben needed leverage, needed something that made him valuable alive instead of as a corpse to be dissected. Needed... The idea hit him like one of Homelander's punches. Terrible, brilliant, absolutely insane. Alien X. What if he actually used it? Not to fight, not to rewrite reality, but as a threat. A gun pointed at Vaught's head. If they killed him, if they vivisected him, Alien X's reality warping capabilities would be unleashed uncontrollably. No Ben to maintain the transformation, no agreement between Serena and Bellicus to regulate the power. Just cosmic-level forces tearing through dimensional barriers. It would destroy this universe. Probably several neighboring ones too. Mutually assured destruction. Except instead of nuclear weapons, it was an alien god form that Ben could barely control on a good day. "I can't believe I'm considering this," Ben muttered. But what choice did he have? Let Vought capture him. Let Homelander torture his allies. Let this corporate evil mass-produce reality-warping soupes? At least with the Alien X threat, he'd have negotiating power. The Omnitrix had Alien X in its playlist, always had. Ben had deliberately avoided using it since the Forge of Creation incident. Too dangerous, too unpredictable, too likely to cause more harm than good. His thumb hovered over the dial. Before he could second-guess himself into paralysis, heavy footsteps echoed through the abandoned wing. Not security teams, not tactical sweeps. Homelander's voice boomed through the facility. "I know you're here, Ben. The lead lining's cute, but I can hear your heartbeat through 6 feet of concrete. It's racing, by the way. You're scared? Good. You should be." Ben ran. Transformed mid-sprint into XLR8, velocity carrying him through corridors faster than human eyes could track. But Homelander was faster, heat vision carved through walls, herding Ben like prey. "You can't hide in here forever," Homelander's laughter echoed. "And even if you could, I've got your friends in a Vought holding cell. Every hour you don't surrender, I hurt one of them. MM first, then Huey, then Frenchie, then the mute bitch, then Butcher. Then I start over with bones that haven't been broken yet." XLR8 skidded around a corner, buying seconds. The Omnitrix was already cycling to the next transformation. Way Big would tear the building apart. Big Chill could phase through to escape. Humungosaur could fight, or Alien X could end this. Permanently. Ben slammed against a wall, panting, XLR8's enhanced metabolism burning through oxygen. Homelander's footsteps grew closer, measured and confident. He was enjoying this, the hunt, the fear, the absolute certainty of victory. "Last chance, sport. Come out now and I make this quick. Keep running and I'll spend days on you. Vivisection while conscious. Testing each alien form's pain tolerance. Seeing if the watch works after I remove your arm at the shoulder." Ben looked at the Omnitrix. at the Alien X icon glowing softly among the transformation options. One choice. That's all it would take. Transform into a cosmic being and threaten to unmake reality if Homelander touched him. It was insane. It was potentially catastrophic. It was the only leverage he had. His thumb moved to select Alien X. Then something crashed through the building's roof. Not Homelander. Someone else. Someone wearing a white and gold costume, lightning crackling around her fists, eyes glowing with genuine fury instead of performative heroism. Starlight. She hit Homelander with enough electrical force to light up the entire building. He staggered. Actually staggered. More from surprise than damage. Annie. Homelander's voice went cold. What the fuck are you doing? What I should have done years ago, Starlight said. Stopping you from murdering a kid for corporate profit. He's a threat. A dimensional anomaly with... He's 16 years old, and he saved those people in the building when you would have let them die for PR optics. I saw the footage. All of it, including what you did to Maeve. Maeve died in an accident. Bullshit. Starlight's hands blazed brighter. You killed her because she defied you, and now you're hunting Ben because Vought wants his technology. This isn't heroism, John. This is corporate asset acquisition with murder. Homelander's eyes went nuclear red. You're making a mistake, Annie. A career-ending, life-ending mistake. Stand down, now. No. The single word hung in the contaminated air like a declaration of war. Homelander smiled. Okay then. He moved. Starlight barely got her arms up before his fist connected. The impact sent her crashing through 3 walls. Homelander followed, heat vision blazing. Ben ran toward the fight, transforming into Humongosaur mid-sprint. 20 feet of armored muscle slammed into Homelander from behind, buying Starlight seconds to recover. Ben, run! She shouted, electricity arcing between her fingers. I can't beat him, but I can slow him down. Get out of here. I'm not leaving you to... Homelander's heat vision caught Humongosaur across the chest. Ben roared in pain, scales burning, flesh blistering. The Omnitrix beeped frantically, damage threshold approaching. Starlight hit Homelander again. Full power. The electrical discharge actually made him grunt. Guess those self-defense lessons paid off, huh, John? You'll regret this, Homelander promised. I regret not doing it sooner. They fought. Starlight and a Humongosaur against Homelander in an abandoned asylum full of compound ghosts. Ben used mass and strength. Starlight used speed and electrical attacks. Homelander used absolute power and mounting rage. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. Homelander was too strong, too fast, too invulnerable. He was winning, and he knew it. The Omnitrix beeped final warning. Transformation failing. Ben made the decision. He slammed the dial. Selected Alien X. Green flash. Reality stuttered. Ben Tennyson ceased to exist in any meaningful sense. His consciousness fragmented into the cosmic void where Serena and Bellicus, the 2 personalities controlling Alien X's powers, debated everything and nothing simultaneously. Motion to intervene. Ben's voice echoed in the infinite space between thoughts. Denied, Serena said calmly. Insufficient justification. A man is trying to kill me and everyone I know. Temporary problem, Bellicus countered. In cosmic terms, irrelevant. People are dying. People are always dying. Should we intervene in every mortal crisis? Ben screamed into the void, knowing this was the problem with Alien X. The power was infinite. The consensus was impossible. And meanwhile, in the real world, seconds were passing. Homelander saw the transformation, saw Ben become a black and white cosmic being floating motionless in the air, recognized the threat immediately. No, he breathed. Don't you fucking dare. Starlight didn't understand, but she used the distraction, hitting Homelander with everything she had. Inside Alien X's consciousness, Ben pleaded, Just let me protect them. One action. Then I'll revert. Define protect, Serena demanded. Ensure their survival. For how long? Long enough to matter. Motion denied, Bellicus said. Insufficient specificity. While they debated, Homelander broke Starlight's arm. The cosmic debate continued in a space where time meant nothing. Ben argued with Serena and Bellicus, trying to convince two incomprehensible personalities that one girl's broken arm mattered on a universal scale. Meanwhile, in the physical world, seconds passed like centuries compressed into heartbeats. Homelander stared at the motionless Alien X, calculating. The cosmic being hovered 3 feet off the contaminated asylum floor, completely still, radiating power that made his enhanced senses scream warnings. This was different from Ben's other transformations. This was dangerous in ways that transcended physical threat. Ben, Homelander said carefully, I know you can hear me. I know that form comes with complications. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to revert to human. Right now, or I'm going to kill Starlight. Then I'm going to find your other friends and kill them too. And when you finally get control of that cosmic body, you'll come back to a world where everyone who helped you is dead because you couldn't act fast enough. Inside the void, Ben heard every word. Please, let me save her. Define save, Serena repeated. Prevent her death. For how long? A second? A century? Eternity? Motion to table discussion, Bellicus suggested. Requires further consideration. We don't have time for further consideration. We have infinite time. We exist outside temporal constraints. Ben wanted to scream. This was why Alien X was unusable in combat. By the time Serena and Bellicus agreed on anything, the universe might have ended naturally. But he'd made a calculation when choosing this transformation. A terrible, desperate calculation. Homelander wasn't patient. Starlight was bleeding, and the Omnitrix's time limit was approaching whether consensus happened or not. When Alien X reverted, the backlash of unreleased cosmic power would tear through local reality like a grenade in a paper bag. Not enough to destroy the universe, probably, but enough to destabilize this section of space-time catastrophically. Mutually assured destruction. Ben had turned himself into a cosmic bomb, threatening everyone in the blast radius, including himself. Homelander saw it in Ben's cosmic eyes. The realization, the calculation, the acceptance of consequences. You wouldn't, Homelander said. Inside Alien X, Ben smiled. Try me. The standoff crystallized. Homelander could kill Starlight, could torture the boys, could threaten civilian populations, but if he touched Ben, if he damaged Alien X's physical form enough to force reversion without consensus, the resulting reality collapse would annihilate everything within a 50-mile radius, including Homelander. You're bluffing, Homelander said, but his voice carried uncertainty for the first time Ben had heard. You're a hero. Heroes don't gamble with civilian lives. Starlight, broken arm cradled against her chest, laughed bitterly. You don't know heroes. You just know Vaught's products. Ben's the real thing, and real heroes do whatever it takes to stop monsters like you. Shut up. Homelander's eyes glowed red, but he didn't fire. Couldn't fire. The math was too clear. Ben, listen to me. We can negotiate. Vought doesn't want you dead. They want the technology. We can work something out. Research partnership. You keep the watch. We study it non-invasively. Everyone wins. Inside the void, the debate continued. Motion to consider negotiation, Serena said. Seconded. Bellicus agreed. Finally, progress. What are the terms? Undefined. Negotiation requires multiple iterations to determine optimal outcome. We don't have time for iterations. Again, time is irrelevant in this space, I know. Ben's frustration boiled over. But out there, people are dying. My people, your vessel's people. Correction, These are not our people. They are strangers in a foreign dimension. They helped me. They risked everything. Doesn't that matter? Serena and Bellicus exchanged incomprehensible glances. Interesting question. Does temporary alliance create responsibility transcending dimensional boundaries? Motion to table for philosophical consideration. No. Ben felt the Omnitrix's time limit approaching. Maybe 3 minutes of real-world time left. Look, I'm going to revert soon whether you decide or not. When that happens, all this power you're debating unleashes uncontrolled. Homelander dies, Starlight dies, this asylum becomes a crater. Maybe the whole city. Is that what you want? We do not want anything. We simply exist. Then exist with a conscience. Let me save them. Silence in the cosmic void. Then, motion. Limited intervention to prevent uncontrolled power discharge, Serena said slowly. Seconded, Bellicus replied. Scope, protect individuals within immediate blast radius only. Duration, until safe reversion can occur. Method, minimal reality manipulation. All in favor? Aye, they said in unison. Finally. Alien X moved. Not much, just enough. One hand gestured and Starlight disappeared, teleported 3 miles away to safety. Another gesture created a localized reality bubble around the asylum, containing the inevitable power discharge. Homelander charged, finally realizing the threat was real. But Alien X was faster than thought. One finger touched his chest and Homelander stopped, frozen mid-flight. Not paralyzed, the atoms of his body simply ceased moving relative to local space-time. Ben, Homelander's voice barely worked through frozen vocal cords. Don't, the Omnitrix beeped final warning. Motion to revert transformation, Ben said urgently. Denied, Serena replied. Reversion would discharge power, containment incomplete. Then complete it. Insufficient consensus on... Time ran out. Alien X reverted. Ben transformed back to human mid-air, cosmic power bleeding off like nuclear radiation. The reality bubble held, barely, containing the discharge. But the backlash still hit Homelander like a dimensional freight train. He flew backward through the asylum wall, through 3 more buildings, landing a 1/4 mile away, smoking and unconscious. Not dead. Compound V durability saved him. But hurt. Actually hurt. Ben collapsed on the contaminated floor, Omnitrix smoking and flashing error messages in 3 languages. The dimensional recalibration had been disrupted. Reset to 0. 72 hours, starting over. But he was alive. Starlight was safe. The boys weren't dead, and Homelander had learned that Ben wasn't helpless prey. Sirens approached. Vought response teams, FBI, media helicopters. The reality discharge had lit up every sensor in New York. Ben had maybe 3 minutes before he was swarmed. He staggered to his feet, checked the Omnitrix. Still functional, but glitching worse than before. Alien X's usage had damaged something in the dimensional calibration matrix. Using it again might strand him here permanently. Or it might destroy both universes. Ben stumbled out of the asylum into the night. News helicopters spotted him immediately, cameras broadcasting live. His face was all over the internet now. Alien X trending. Footage of the cosmic transformation going viral. He'd shown his trump card, shown Vought exactly what he could do. Shown the world a power that could end everything. And he had no idea if he just saved lives or signed his own death warrant. A car screeched up. Driving, arm in a cast. Huey in the passenger seat, face still bruised. Frenchie and Kimiko in the back. Butcher missing, probably too injured to move. Get in, shouted. Ben didn't argue, piled into the car as Vought vehicles appeared in the distance. Starlight? He asked. Safe, Huey confirmed, showing his phone. Social media footage showed her landing 3 miles away. confused but alive. What the hell happened in there? I threatened to unmake reality if Homelander killed me, then partially followed through. Accelerated through Manhattan streets. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I've worked with Butcher for 5 years. Speaking of, Ben noticed the absence. Where is he? Silence in the car. Finally, Frenchie spoke. Homelander broke both his legs. Fractured skull, internal bleeding. He's in surgery. Might not make it. Ben's stomach twisted. Butcher had bought him time to escape. Had been tortured for it. Might die for it. I'm sorry, Ben said. This is my fault. All of it. Nah, replied. This is Homelander's fault. Vaught's fault. System's fault. You're just the latest victim of corporate superhero bullshit. Difference is, you fought back. Lot of people don't. The Omnitrix beeped. New notification. Ben checked it and felt his blood run cold. The dimensional recalibration was compromised. Alien X's usage had damaged the return mechanism. Ben could still access transformations, could still fight. But getting home? Impossible without Galvan technology that didn't exist in this universe. He was stuck here, indefinitely. Ben? Huey noticed his expression. What's wrong? Ben looked at the boys, at these damaged, violent, compromised people who'd risked everything to protect a stranger. Looked at the Omnitrix glowing steady green, ready for more transformations, more fights, more impossible choices. Looked at the New York skyline where Vought Tower stood like a monument to corporate evil, where Homelander was probably waking up in a medical bay, planning revenge. I can't go home, Ben said quietly. The watch is damaged. I'm stuck here. Gripped the steering wheel tighter. So, what do you do? Good question. 3 options, like Butcher had said. Join Vought and become a corporate asset. Join the boys and become a weapon in their war. Or forge independent path and become a target for both sides. Ben thought about Queen Maeve dying to give him a chance. About Starlight risking everything to save him. About the boys sacrificing themselves so he could escape. Thought about Homelander's smile and Ashley's contract and Vaught's empire built on manufactured heroes and chemical slavery. Thought about his home universe, where heroes were actually heroes, where corporations didn't own justice, where 16-year-olds could save the world without signing legal waivers. He couldn't go back to that world, but maybe he could bring a piece of it here. I stay, Ben decided. I fight. Not with Vought, not exactly with the boys either, but I fight. Against Homelander? Frenchie asked. Against Vought International? Against entire system? Yeah. Smiled grimly. That's the most stupidly heroic thing I've ever heard. Butcher's gonna love it, if he survives. Kimiko signed something. Frenchie translated. She says welcome to the boys. We might not be heroes, but we're all we've got. The car disappeared into Manhattan traffic. Behind them, Vought Tower's lights blazed against the night sky. Ahead, uncertain future in a universe that corrupted everything it touched. Ben Tennyson had accidentally landed in the boys' universe. Now he had to figure out how to be a hero in hell. The Omnitrix glowed green, ready for whatever came next. 3 weeks later, Ben stood on a rooftop overlooking New York, watching the city that had become his prison. The Omnitrix pulsed softly, still glitching, still unable to recalibrate for dimensional transit. Stuck. Below, life continued. Vought stock had actually risen after the Alien X incident, their PR team spinning it as proof of dimensional threats requiring stronger superhero presence. Homelander had made a full recovery, giving interviews about the brave fight against foreign invasion. Starlight had been suspended from the Seven pending investigation into her collaboration with terrorists. The narrative always won. But something had shifted. Ben saw it in social media, in whispered conversations, in the way people looked at Vought Tower now. Doubt, questions, the beginning of cracks in the corporate facade. Queen Maeve was dead, but footage of her defying Homelander had leaked, probably through Huey's networks. Maeve was a hero, trending alongside corporate damage control. Butcher had survived surgery, was recovering. Already planning next moves against Vought with the single-minded obsession that defined him. The boys continued their war, more careful now, more strategic, with Ben as an occasional asset who operated by his own rules. No killing, but plenty of exposure, sabotage, and making Vaught's life difficult. And Homelander, he knew Ben was still out there, knew the Alien X threat remained. They'd reached an unofficial détente. Homelander didn't push too hard. Ben didn't threaten cosmic annihilation. Yet, it wouldn't last. Nothing in this universe lasted. Eventually, they'd fight again. Eventually, Ben would have to choose how far he'd compromise his values to survive in a world designed to corrupt them. But for now, he watched the city, monitored police scanners, waited for genuine crises that Vaught's heroes would ignore because the optics were wrong or the PR wasn't profitable. And when those crises came, Ben Tennyson, actual hero, not corporate product, would be there. He couldn't go home, couldn't save his own universe. But maybe he could plant seeds of genuine heroism in this one. Show people what real heroes looked like. Prove that morality wasn't just marketing. It was a long shot. Probably impossible. Definitely insane. The Omnitrix glowed green, ready for another transformation, another fight, another impossible choice. Ben smiled. He'd faced universe-ending threats before. Beaten cosmic tyrants, saved reality itself. How hard could reforming one corrupt superhero industry be? Somewhere in Vought Tower, Homelander watched surveillance footage of that rooftop. Watched Ben Tennyson stand against the skyline like a challenge written in alien technology. And he smiled too, because the hunt was only beginning. The war between genuine heroism and corporate evil continued. And in the darkness between dimensions, the Omnitrix's damaged calibration matrices sparked and attempted repairs. Calculated probabilities, searched for frequencies that might someday, somehow, lead a lost hero home. But that was a problem for another day. Tonight, New York needed a hero, and Ben 10 was all they had. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.